Well, here we are, almost the end of 2024. It's been an interesting year, you have to admit. I got season 3 going, nice sound wall, works pretty good, can't hear the neighbors today. We got a lot of DC action figures reviewed. You've been with me through my trials and tribulations of not having a job all the way up until now, and if you're asking, no, I still don't have work. But throughout the entire year, we've had fun making fun of myself, talking about action figures in a way that no one else does, but we have mostly focused on DC. We have. I made McFarlane very happy this year. But we also collect other things too. And now, if you remember, going back, and I'm not talking about the Marvel Mondays, I did do 2 gargoyles. That's right, I did Goliath, and I did, of course, his clone. Well, not really his clone. I mean, I wouldn't say his clone really, but basically the same action figure done in a different tone. Thalog, I think I said it right. Yeah, Thalog. And I managed to pick up a few throughout the year. Now, I don't have the complete series. I know NECA did 2 series of gargoyles. I mean, well, I've got Goliath, of course. I've got Thalog. I've got Brooklyn. I've got, I have to look at it, Hudson. I got Broadway. I even got Angela from the 2nd season as well. Now, of course, I'm missing a whole bunch. I don't have Bronx. I don't have Lexington. I don't have, the Cold's Eye, the Grim Reaper. I don't have, for example, Xanatos or Xanatos in his armored form. And I know there's even a 2-pack that has Goliath with the wings folding down. I don't have those. They cost money. But there's one I haven't mentioned yet, because this one, when it came out, I remember a lot of people were criticizing it. And I got it anyway, because I figured, you know what, this character is integral to the Goliath storyline. If you remember watching Gargoyles, I know I did. I even have the Gargoyles videotape that comes with the game. Yeah, that's downstairs. But I did pick up, of course, Demona. Now, a lot of Star Trek fans recognize the voice. Of course, she was the counselor on Star Trek Enterprise Next Generation. But I figured to end the year off, because I know my buddy Shane asked about me doing a Gargoyle special a while ago. See, I haven't forgotten. I do read the comments. And I figured, well, I don't want to do all the ones I have, but I figure let's do the most controversial Gargoyle action figure they've done. And we'll get to the reason why she was controversial, and we'll see if I have the same problem. But what do you say we pop that Velcro and get Demona out of her package? Back after the close-up. Well, as you saw in the close-up, I didn't put Demona's wings on her. There's a reason for that. Now, part of the problem with Demona was that when she came out, people complained about the pegs. And I can tell you, the tail peg itself was so small and fine, I thought it was going to break when I was going to, insert it. As for the wings, this was the controversy at the time. Let me just put Demona down for a second. The controversy at the time was the pegs for the wings are so stiff that they quite often broke. I warmed this thing up and it's still stiff. So, in that sense, I'm a bit disappointed, because I would have loved to have this on display with the wings. Some people complain that once they got the wings in, they would droop downwards, they wouldn't hold. I'm not going to deal with that, because for me, even though I love the character, I love the face sculpt on this, Demona is a fail. I am going to try something with the wings down the road when I eventually build a Gargoyles display, but just because of the fact I don't want it breaking, I'm going to wait. But let's look at the wings. Like, for example, you have a jointed wing that should, in theory, go into the back, have back and forth pivot action, and you'd be able to turn it. This thing is so stiff, it really barely moves. I'm going to have to soak it in really hot water for a while, and then maybe do another close-up. But for now, to get the video done, I wanted to just talk about the figure itself. Now, the figure does come with accessories, something you don't get with many McFarlanes. You got two big blasters, and if you watch the cartoon, the animation, you'll see these look very familiar. She also comes with a faceplate that you can swap out. I haven't bothered, but I like the fact that the earrings actually dangle. They're not just solid plastic. But one of my favorite accessories is the book. Look at this. This is really nice, and you can actually sort of get you're sort of thinking, oh, I can open it, but you really can't. But the fact that you can sort of have it semi-open is kind of cool. It's a shame they didn't make it that you could open it, because I think if you could, you'd probably break the thing. But it's designed to open, but I think the problem is it's been so stiff for so long that when these were made and probably shipped out, they probably sat for a while before, and the plastic they used just stiffened. And that does happen with action figures. I have found that if you slowly might want to warm this thing up and get it open, but I'm not going to bother, because why risk breaking it? As for Demona herself, well, I do like the details. The face is nicely detailed. It makes me think of the animation. The fact that the jewelry is on, it's not just, loose bracelet here. The fabric, it looks like fabric. I actually thought it was real fabric. However, like the wings, joints are extremely stiff on this action figure. It's like the plastic just was assembled, it was too hot, so that when it cooled down, it just stiffened up. It's a shame. It's a shame, because I do like my other gargoyles, and I would love to have a complete display of all of them. I'd like to get Series 1 and Series 2 nicely displayed, especially in a library, because that's where I have Goliath and Talog. They're in my bedroom library, and they look so good. You have the backdrop of old antique books. But no, I don't regret having her. I will have to find solutions to put the wings on where they don't break, because I did try putting them on, and I thought for sure they was going to break. And I don't want to do that. Another thing with the wings that people complain about, the hair. If you notice where the holes are, the wings, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to push too hard, but if you notice, trying to insert that in, it doesn't want to go in. It just doesn't want to go in at all. So I'm going to have to really do a power heat on this. I'm not going to use a hair dryer. I will use basically boiling hot water, let it sit in a sink that's nice and hot, and then try to put them in and maybe free them up so I can at least get them looking like this. But that's it. I just wanted to give you guys a little end of the year special, especially one that's been asked for. I'm also surprised at how stiff the arms. I'm worried about breaking this action figure. Most of the stuff I get, I'm not worried about breaking, even though I've had a few break. This one, I am really worried. It makes me think back to my old Street Fighter toys that sat unchanged for quite a few years. When I pulled them out, they were super stiff. So that's something too I want to give some advice to. If you do have an action figure collection, and you don't change them up from time to time. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that, I'm back. As I was saying, if you do have an action figure collection that has sat for a while, and you haven't thought about maybe changing them around, you might want to, because as I found with my older Street Fighter sets, I had to really warm them up a lot. I know with my McFarlanes, it's not so bad, because for the most part, you have to dust figures. As I move them around, sometimes clean them up, I always change an arm here, change an arm there. That plus the fact the McFarlane bases, we all know how wonderful they are. They quite often will just fall. I have to restand them. So as I restand them, I make sure everything's working fine. I'm going to have to warm her up big time. If I do, you'll see another close-up of her at the end. If I don't, you'll just have me wishing you guys all a Happy New Year. Hopefully that 2025 will be a better year, not only for me, but for you guys. And hopefully, when I eventually do get around to opening up Angela, they would have fixed the wing problem. Which is surprising, too, because with Goliath and Thalog, there was no problem with the wings. They literally went in, posable, didn't really sloop, but yeah, I think she was the black sheep of the gargoyle family. But that's it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful, good year, and we'll see you in 2025. Until then, do your best, especially with the weather and with who knows what kind of pandemic we're going to get next. But do your best, of course, stay healthy. And even though you get an action figure that kind of disappoints you a little bit, you still have to do your best. You know, because think, it's still an action figure. Just because there's no wings on it doesn't mean it's not still a cool action figure. But you have to do your best to stay happy. And even when faced with problems like wings that don't go into the back, stiff joints, you still have to do your best, of course. Going forward, do your best, stay positive, and we'll see you guys in 2025. Well, I know you just saw the credits, but I'm back. It's been about an hour since I finished filming everything from before, and, well, lesson learned, I should say. I basically used my hot water technique to see if I could put the wings on Demona, and also, of course, to see if I get the joints in the elbows to loosen up. Well, I'll tell you one thing I learned about this NECA Dema. Hot water worked! Yes, you can clearly see the beautiful details in the wings. Now, the hair does interfere a little bit. I'm also not wanting to move the wings any more than that, because just to get them in this point, it was a lot of heat, basically boiling water almost, just to get the pegs to swivel sideways so I could put the wings in this way. And of course, I had to heat up the back to get the pegs into her back. But yeah, gorgeous wings. I mean, it really looks so much better with the wings on. The other thing I learned is the elbow joints. I can't speak. The elbow joints on her are extremely poor plastic. When I heated them up, I thought they were going to literally fall apart from the heat. So I got some posability back in the arms, but I'm more worried about the elbow joints than the wings, because now the wings are in. And I have to admit, I mean, the details are just amazing once you got the wings in. And the colors on the wings, look at that. It's just, this is going to look good next to the other two. Now I feel I can get all the ones I mentioned that I'm missing. Eventually, hopefully I will. Hopefully I'll be able to afford them. But no, I'm happy I took the extra time. But basic life lesson, if you have any worries about your action figure being too stiff to pose, hot water. What I did was I got a sink. I basically started by using hot water on the arms to get them loosened up a little bit, which they did a little bit. I then had to basically soak the back to get the pegs in the back hole open, which they eventually did open up a little bit. But mostly it was boiling water on the wings. Now I am worried about the wings moving them, so I am not going to move them much, because one of the complaints people had was the wings would fall. But that's it. She's done. She's complete. I didn't break her. She broke my heart, mind you. But especially she broke Goliath's heart. But no, there she is. I'm going to do another close-up for you, and then once again, wish you all a happy new year, and we'll see you at some point in 2025. I also forgot to mention her torso was also stiff, but as soon as I warmed it up, I was able to put the torso back. 6-pack! Ah! Yeah. And another thing I want to add is they do fit well with the DC series. It's like, you know, they're meant to be bigger than the average human, which they are. But I'm happy I got her. I'm happy she didn't break on me. And, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you want to see more gargoyles. Until next time, take care. Just to prove that I'm not insane, I do have Gargoyles the movie. That comes with the interactive game. That's right. And just to show you how crazy I am, the videotape's never really been played because I have it on another videotape. But also to show you, haha, the game. Let me pull it out here. Up at the bottom. The funny thing is, I haven't seen anybody else ever talk about the video game of the Gargoyles. Let me just get all the pieces out. Don't want to forget any. Alright, let me just put this down. Back of the box. So the game, of course, has all these little cards. Look at that. On the back of the cards, you find your way into the subway and actually get on a train going in the right direction. Move ahead 9 spaces. So basically you have a whole bunch of cards like that. Of course, you also have Demona. You have The City. It's just one of these little fun games, you know. Let me just put this out of the way. And there's quite a lot of these little cards. See? You got a whole bunch of little cards. And of course you also get, haha, who can you play? Spin the wheel. Here we go. And the actual board playing game itself. Oh, there it is. Alright, that's it. Just wanted to show you that I actually do have the game. And we will see you guys in 2025, hopefully. Also, last things first. Well, that makes sense. Last things first, before I sign off for the end of the year. It's been suggested to me that I do a Patreon. I've already had some people say, yes, do it. But let me know in the comments if you guys would like to have a Patreon that would show extra content. I would do other stuff on the Patreon. For example, I would do maybe older toys, like a retro toy as well. Let me know in the comments, because I'm thinking about doing that maybe for 2025 as a way of supporting the channel. If I do a Patreon, it'll of course be extra content, but let me know what you would pay. How much would you pay for extra content? Especially when everything I do is free. See you guys next year.